up, Chaos Crew? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Ryan, and we're gonna be tackling another little bit of track prep, hopefully the last of our 2008 Nissan 350Z. So we went ahead, we've got the oil cooler done. Last go around, we put some nice drilled and slotted rotors along with some hawk pads on the rear. And today I'm very excited because we kind of have a big brake little hack. And I actually found it. I'll leave all the guys' information below, but gotta give credit where credit's due. So it's 350Z 24/7. He actually found like a loophole to get big brakes, like the Brembo style, for the front. So that's what we've done. So I can't wait to see them, the calipers, like side by side, to see the comparison of how much of a difference they'll make. But we're going to a 4-piston setup on the front, like just like the track edition that came with the Brembos. So what you do is you can get the remanufactured ones. So I'm assuming somebody that had one of the track 350Zs that came with the Brembo package, you know, something went wrong with those calipers. They, you know, got a new set. They had to give the core back. Well, then they rebuild those cores, and so that's what we've bought. So that's how we're gonna throw the big brakes on the front. Here we have all the new goodies going on. So again, for the front, we got the bigger 4-piston calipers going with the hawk pads, some nice brake fluid, and then our drilled and slotted rotors from StopTech. So I've already gone ahead and got the car up and lifted, so that way we're ready to work on it. So Paul's on his way. He should be here any minute. And on the go ahead, and just what we learned from doing the rears, gonna spray down these bolts with some PB blaster, just that way hopefully by the time we go to break them loose, those caliper bolts will slide right out. These are the two bolts we're after, here and here, for our calipers. Gonna soak them down with some PB blaster and give them time to do their thing. If you noticed, I also hit the center hub and then our studs with some PB blaster too, so that way when we do get the caliper bolts free, we can hopefully get that rotor off easily. So we've got Paul back to help us out today. So we're gonna jump in. The first thing that we're actually gonna do is drain all the brake fluid out. Get a little dirty first with the brake fluid, and then move on to the calipers. Now that we've let our brake lines kind of bleed out and drip fluid for a little while, we're going to start installing the stainless line. We have our stainless steel line mounted on the driver's side, so it actually eliminates one of those, like the factory like junction points almost, where it kind of holds the line in place. So, but we've got the rubber hose out of there and now our stainless line on. So we show you exactly how we routed it and what we're working with. This was our factory setup. So there was this one junction block here and then another little junction point here. So with our stainless steel lines, it's just one continuous line from the caliper itself to your hard line. So originally there was a factory point here holding it on, and then you can kind of see this bolt sticking out back there. That's where the second one was, but it eliminates that. So we're kind of dangling free back here. So as long as we don't get caught up in our suspension components, then we'll be okay. But we've got it like loosely mounted at this point. Once we get the caliper on, then we'll be able to come back here and tighten this and make sure we're clear, not gonna snag anything. So just for comparison's sake, obviously we got our old here versus our new. So this little guy's just got the 2 pistons on the backside, nothing over here. Whereas our new setup, the 4-piston, it's got on both sides, here and there. So hopefully that'll be, 1, it'll look better, but then 2, hopefully provide us a whole lot better stopping power. So we were just kind of having a discussion about like what should we do, what would be the correct orientation of our slotted rotors. And the rear we did towards the back, like the slotted part facing towards the back, and just in our heads, like that's what makes the most sense. If you're driving down the road, you know, you're wanting to vent that hot air from your brakes, well, you want it to go with the flow, so we're pointing towards the back. You look it up, you Google it yourself, and you get conflicting arguments on both. Like, you look at pictures and some people have it pointing forward, some people have it pointing backwards, but we've made the executive decision, we are pointing the Z towards the rear. At this point, it's all or nothing, so we're gonna go try to put the rotors on, calipers on, brake pads in, and then tighten everything down. So the driver's side front is officially done. We still got to put brake fluid in and bleed all that stuff, but you can get an idea of what it's going to look like. And it looks amazing. Seriously, I love the way that turned out. So I can't wait. We're going to throw the wheel on here in a second just to see how the chaos shines through those spokes, but man, that looks killer. That letter placement is on point. Dang, I love that. That's gonna look amazing on the ground. But little sneak peek, she's looking clean. But yeah, can't believe how perfect those letters ended up fitting. So now we should be masters. So everything that we've just done on the driver's side, we're gonna repeat the process on the passenger side. And then we'll be able to bleed our brake system and then go for a test drive. Front brakes done. So the only thing we have left to do is we're actually gonna bleed the entire system. As exciting as bleeding brakes is, I think we're gonna spare you all the misery of having to watch that. We have to live it, so there's that. But pro tip, you will wanna start so from the farthest point from your reservoir. So in that case, we're gonna start on the passenger side rear, then go driver side rear, passenger side front, driver side front is the way that we're gonna bleed them.
2 hours later.
So we've gone through, bled the entire system. Like I said, we started with the farthest most point away from the reservoir. So we started in that passenger side rear and worked our way around. So now comes the moment of truth. We're gonna take it for a test drive. Hopefully all goes well. The only thing we're a little bit concerned about is the passenger side front, like one of the bleeder nipples, it seems to be lactating, like there's like just a touch leak on it. So hopefully we've tightened it as much as we can, so hopefully that's just not like a manufacturer defect. But test drive time, and then we'll update hopefully afterwards. Well, we safely survived our test drive, didn't kill anybody, but I'd like to say we have better news. Unfortunately, the back is dragging for whatever reason, and the front is puking brake fluid. So we got issues, but the positive is we're alive to tell about it. So let's show you the damage. This is the front passenger side. This is the inner lip of the wheel, and I mean, you can just see that it's splattered with brake fluid all in the inside of the wheel well. So we got issues. Then on the back side, I'm not gonna touch it because it's hot, but you can clearly see there's a defined line where it sounds like we got a brake pad dragging or something. So we gotta dive in and figure out what's wrong with the back and what's wrong with the front. Have you ever had one of those projects that just seems to want to draw out forever? Unfortunately, that is what has become of the Z. So as you can tell, we're on jack stands again and we're looking a little crazy. I got everything taped up and everything. So what I had done was, before we put the calipers on, I painted them up, looked nice and pretty. Well, between, I think I've probably had the calipers on and off the car 6, 7, 8 times. I don't even know, I've lost count. But because last we left you, the rear was scrubbing and the fronts were leaking. So what we ended up having to do, I've actually just gone ahead and replaced the rear with a brand new set of calipers. So now that solved that issue. And then the fronts have been a pain. What I ended up having to do was, after some trial and error, pull the caliper apart and split it in half. And there's like a little teeny tiny rubber O-ring. And I mean, it's tiny, tiny. We're talking like smaller than a dime. But I guess that was the cause of the leak. So once that got replaced, put the halves back together, put it on, no more leak. So that was on the driver's side, that the O-ring was leaking. The passenger side, I guess it just wasn't like that nipple, because you don't want to tighten it down too much and like strip it, but I mean, I tightened it a whole lot harder than I would ever like to, but that fixed the leak on that side. So in the final stages now, I'm just touching up the paint where the brake fluids kind of ate away at it. So we're gonna spray the black on there one more time, and I've covered up our logo. So I'm gonna spray black, hopefully protect the Chaos logo, and then hit it with some clear over top of that. All right, so now we're just watching paint dry. But of course, any project wouldn't be complete without a little chaos, so it's very fitting. But I'm gonna be so glad to get this project out of the way. Like I said, it's been unfortunately months in the making, so I'm sure some of y'all can relate to those type projects. But this is like the last piece of the puzzle before we hit the track. And not that it was 100% necessary to make it look pretty, but if I'm gonna spend all that time and effort, I wanna look good. So once the paint finishes drying, we'll drop it down and see what it looks like. I'm happy to say the car is officially track ready. So paint's dried, everything's looking really good. So I just hope it performs as well as we're looking. So the next time you see this car, we'll be hitting up Carolina Motorsports Park in South Carolina and really pushing it to its limits, see what it can do. So I appreciate everybody watching. If you will, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.